Hey everybody, it's RC Power's Mig29 V4 day today at the field. I've got my my stock built camo Mig29 V4 that I've been flying the wings off here in the last month or so, almost 2 months now. We got 150 flights on it I think now, so I've really been able to do a great evaluation of what it's capable of. So I just finished up my this new one here. It's another version 4, but with some North American MiG consortium modifications between Stefan Moran and I. So anyway, I'm just going to do a walk around before I fly and just point out some of the differences that hopefully you'll be able to see in the video. So let me just grab my radio here first. So basically all the changes that I made are pretty much from sort of here back. It might not be that easy to tell. I guess you might be able to see here. What I did was the stock, Stefan had measured out the stock KFs and they were like 37-38% I think. So I found on the Mig29 V3 M3e3 that we built that 40%, I extended those back and ended up with about 40%. So what I did was I extended the KF airfoils back about 1/4 of an inch from stock. So they're approximately 40% now. Next thing, you can see here, these are well, basically the stock aileron. On the plans, the aileron would go all the way in to here, but as I mentioned in the walk-around video that I did on this, I had to secure this about 3/4 of an inch of the aileron here so that I could deconflict it with my push rods going to my elevons. So I did the same thing here, and then went with these are inboard ailerons. They're about 4 and a bit. I think I actually cut them at 4 1/4, so that way when I took a little bit off either side so it wouldn't bind, I ended up with just over 4 inches. But from here out, they're width-wise and angle-wise are the same as stock, but then you've got almost 4.5 inches of wing out at the end that doesn't move. Okay, so you can notice right away, you should be able to notice right away, a big difference in the tails. Stefan and I both prefer this vertical type of rudder, sorry. So the hinge is vertical as well as the trailing edge, so they're basically perpendicular to the wing plate there. We both find that we have very similar flying styles, flying desires, I think, even though we've never flown together. Just through discussing it, I think we we both like to fly pretty much the same, more stock feel, and having control inputs do exactly what they're supposed to do without any kind of weird bad habits. So we've both been finding that this type of elevator, why do I keep wanting to call it an elevator? This type of rudder is much more direct in the yaw axis without a lot of roll. What I found with this angled rudder on the stock V4 is that if you're doing you pull the plane up into you slow it down and then you want to do kind of like one of these, sort of a hammerhead stall is what I call it. If you kick the rudder over without any opposite aileron, what happens is the plane ends up rolling more like this, rather than just doing this, which is kind of what I want it to do. So with this, I should mention I already have 6 flights on this plane just to get it dialed in. So what I notice with this one is when I pull it up and I kick the rudder, it does, basically sometimes I might need to put a little opposite aileron, but not very much. It goes the way that it's supposed to. So I really like that. I did extend, you might be able to see, I extended the prop slot back, the back edge of the prop slot back about 1/2 inch over my other build. I had extended this one as well. Normally it would come to pretty much right where the motor is, back of the motor is. So I extended it another ½ an inch back. What I was finding with the V4 is I was still getting what Stefan and I like to call aileron polar or elevon polar pitch effect. Gosh, I'm having a hard time with my control surfaces today. Or wind veining, and what we mean by that is, let's say that the ruler here is where the wind's coming from. So you go up into a turn like this, and what we were finding is, especially towards the end of the turn, was that because of this big surface back here with the elevons and this big tail plate, is that the back, I can follow this, the back end would wash out almost like a drift car does sometimes, and you know, we wanted to try and correct that. I mean, you can correct it just with control inputs. I found that if I kept, you know, accelerated through the turn a bit more like you would in a car, it wasn't quite so bad. But you know, we also wanted to have a smaller back end for other reasons. Okay, so let me put them tail to tail here, and you can probably also notice another big difference is the size of the size and shape of the elevons. Stefan kind of redrew these, and so we end up with I would estimate about a 10 to 15% difference in total surface area. We both like smaller control surfaces because we both find it gives us much more crispness and preciseness in how our planes handle. Because with a big surface, sometimes what happens is you get a situation where you know, you put that big surface in the air, and then you get a lot of drag and turbulence, and it tends to make the plane just feel a little bit sloppy sometimes. But anyway, this plane here, this modded V4 is rock solid. Like, if I had just one word to describe the difference, I mean, not that this is a sloppy plane, don't get me wrong, it's still it's probably stock, it's the most solid park jet I've ever built. But this plane, I find flying it, you know, with all the little bits of mojo working together, it is just rock solid. Now, there's not a lot of wind today, so I haven't been able to really assess that elevon polar pitch effect that I was talking about, like I'll get to on windier days. But thus far, just rock solid. Can't say anything bad. It definitely, with all of this that we've got going on, definite improvement in how it handles. More crisp, more precise, more scale. Just really flies beautifully. So I'm very happy with what we ended up doing here. So what I did for fairness was I started off with my throws and my expos on this plane identical to what I had on stock. And actually the only thing, as you can imagine, because of the smaller control surfaces in the roll, you know, the smaller ailerons and elevons, I did up the throws by about 10% in order to get the same roll rate. But other than that, even though the smaller elevons, still very crisp. Left, so I got tons of rudder throw there. Left the rudder throw exactly the same, and I do have spoilerons for high alpha, so they still move. You know, if I need them to. But and it's the same travel. I think it's about 5/8 of an inch travel on the spoilerons, and seems to work just great. So anyway, oh, I should show you my CFG actually ended up being that's where my battery is right now. So it's pretty much dead center, but it's actually fairly far forward. Now I have been flying this one. I'll just show you here. There's where, when I originally made it and was dialing it in, there's where my 2200 battery was, and now I actually fly it up closer to where the 1600 battery is. So maybe about 3/4 of an inch further forward now, all the time. Originally I only did that for high alpha, but I've been finding that that's a much better setup for me overall. I still on this one have to fly with the battery all the way to the right to help counteract torque roll, but so far I got lucky. This one's right in the middle, so that helps. Which is kind of funny. I mean, you'd think you reduce the amount of foam in the back here, maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more nose heavy, but so looking how far forward that battery is, I don't know if you can see there, but I don't even know if I'd be able to fly this with a 1600 battery and have it balanced properly, because I've only got, I think we can see through the bottom here. Yeah, there's my battery right there. So I've only got, I've got barely 3/4 of an inch more. So I might be able to fly it with a 1600 with it right up against the bulkhead. I would have, if I'd known it had been going to be this calm, I would have brought a 1600 battery with me just to try that out. But anyway, so there we go. I think I've covered all the changes. This paint scheme is pretty cool. The Romanian Air Force had a program going years ago with a company from Israel and Daimler Chrysler Aerospace, and they were going to build this Mig29 Sniper, which at the time was supposed to be the best variant of the Mig29 around, but finances kind of fell through. So anyway, so I've got Romanian markings on it. This is the Mig29 Sniper logo, and there's our North American MiG Consortium awesome patch that Stefan designed, so that looks pretty awesome on this plane. So anyway, enough of the jibber jabber here. Let's get some flying done here. Everything's good. Motor turns, that's always a bonus. Okay, here we go. So it's a pretty hot day here already. It's 20 after 10, and it's already pretty hot. We've been in a bit of a heat wave here lately, but anyway, I'll do my best to keep it out of the sun because that's bad mojo. So here we go. So I'm just going to fly it slow first. Very, very smooth. You know, just gentle inputs on the aileron and elevon. A little more speed in the turn there. Okay. Loops very easily. That was about half. I'm about 60% throttle there and then about a half deflection loop. So even with smaller elevons still. So those are full deflection rolls there. Let me try and see if I can't do one of those closer. So that's all the roll that I really like to have on my planes. You know, that's probably a little bit more than scale. But you know, I mean, at one time I was, but I'm not a big fan of, you know, sort of rifle bullet drill rolls. Okay, a little bit of a breeze has just come up here, so maybe we'll get a chance. So nice and solid. That's, you know, I'm at half throttle there in that turn. Let's see. Yeah, nice. No, I didn't detect. So that would have been a crosswind. The wind's coming from my left to right now. Yeah, look at that. Nice and solid. I didn't detect any washout. Oh, you gotta like speed. That's why we fly park jets and not park cruisers, right? So nice smooth rolls. Very stable at high speed. You know, those extra KFs, you know, a little bit longer, I think just help lock in the stability even more. Okay, so there was a full power, full elevon deflection. So still lots of response, but you don't get that, I don't get that thrust vectoring stall scenario where right at the end of the loop, you know, as you're slowing down, that it just parks itself in the air because the elevons act like air brakes almost. Okay, so our wind seems to have died down a little bit here, so pop out the spoilerons here and try our hand at a little high alpha. So I don't see any difference at all in the, you know, in the performance and handling. Ooh. Other than pilot skill. Over the ooh. Actually, I think I might even be able to, as I get some more practice, I might even be able to hold the nose up a little higher on this one than I could with the stock one. Anyway, that needs some practice, obviously. So no problems at all rotating in the pitch. I think the nice thing also is that when Stefan redesigned these elevons, I mean, we still got some good thrust vectoring authority back there, but there's not as much moving surface in the, oh, that was kind of a sloppy, whatever that was. So let's see if I can't demonstrate a, okay, so she rolled a little bit on me there, in that sort of hammerhead stall. So let's try that again. Oh. Pilot error. So it just flies beautifully solid. You know, like I said, it's not that the stock V4 was... Okay, that was good. So there was no, I was just pure rudder there, no opposite aileron. Okay, so I guess we're out of juice. See what kind of landing I can coax out of this little beauty. Oh, not the smoothest in the world, but didn't have to walk too far. Alright folks, so there's the Mig29 version 4 with the M3e3 or North American MiG Consortium modifications on it. Just a beautiful flying plane. So I think that for the most part, again, we'll need a bit more windy day, but I think that we've managed to reduce a little bit of that elevon polar pitch effect or tail slide in the turns in the crosswind. So I'm very pleased with that. Wonderfully pleased with how effective these rudders are. Again, it looks more, gives you more of that sort of Mig29M, Mig35 look. So you know, a bit of a modernization upgrade there too, I guess, if you want. And very happy with how this plane flies. Really nice, beautiful. So anyway, again, RC Power's Mig29 V4 with M3e3 or North American MiG Consortium modifications. So thanks very much for watching.